Stand by. No more cussing now. Well, I've received the clean up your language prompt, and so that means it's time to start brainstorming the human connection. And this is brought to you by the South Dakota Humanities Council, which is doing such a great job at making these opportunities possible, not just this, but lots of other programs. So make sure you check them out and check out what they're doing. You'll probably find lots of interesting things. For all those people who say, oh, it's boring in South Dakota. No, it's not boring. You're boring. Just find some stuff to do. There's lots of things to do and lots of people making interesting possibilities for people to do things. So I hope you'll find something, at least in the Humanities Council. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the more topical things that people have been tossing around. We're just getting it into in our normal language, this idea of artificial intelligence. And this is going to be one of those topics that affects everyone. And not only does it affect everyone, but it's a very big learning curve for most people, almost all people, even the people who are in it. It's a big learning curve because now it has to escape the lab. And when it does, people have to be concerned about, well, what does this mean for everybody? Are we doing good, or are we going backwards, or what does it mean? All of those kinds of questions are on the table. There's no way that we can deal with all of them today, but we're going to do our best to give you a chance to figure out or get more information anyway about this artificial intelligence. And I have with me today Casey Santosh, who is working directly with this artificial intelligence, and he's at the University of South Dakota, and he so graciously accepted our invitation to come on and have a conversation with you about it. And he has lots of things to say, but keep in mind, this is an interactive program. That means that it works when you work. You know, if you have questions, comments, the whole idea is to give you an opportunity to kind of massage these ideas. And if you just sort of sit there passively, you know, letting the thing run over the top of your head, you won't get as much out of it as if you interact, or at least have questions in your mind. Well, how about this? How about that? You have to struggle with these new ideas, or otherwise they can like escape you, and you come back later and think, oh, I don't know if I really understood that. Well, the way to kind of make it stick is to interact with the ideas and involve yourself in discussions. And speaking of discussions, don't let the discussion stop here. We have, you have friends, at least some of you do, have friends, and that's a good place to go further into this. So Casey Santosh is my guest today. How are you doing today, Santosh?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for the invitation, Lawrence.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all? Where did you come from? Where are you going? Give us the 50,000-foot view of Casey Santosh.
All right. So if I go back to my childhood, I was born in Nepal, a beautiful country. We did talk about mountainous country. Mm-hmm. And we did talk about if we get to pick top 10 mountains in the world, top 8 are in Nepal, right? So it's a beautiful thing. But I was not there from 7-year-old. I was out in the UK. I was raised there. Then I went back to Singapore, doing some uniformed job, officer job. Quit back to engineering, and did a lot of AI stuff in my life for more than 20 years, if I get to count. And today, I'm for USD as the chair of the Department of Computer Science since 2015. Before that, I was at the National Institutes of Health as a research fellow, helping doctors in terms of diagnosing or pre-screening based on image, text, numbers, whatever data come into play. We analyze those data and make it useful for experts and also end users. And by the way, if I really have to tell you where am I at USD, we founded AI programs in the state of South Dakota back in 2019-20. That's me. I'm the founder of AI programs at USD, which we call Pioneer Home to AI programs in the state of South Dakota. Right?
Excellent.
I'm trying to be loyal to USD.
Yeah. There you go. You're doing a good job, and I think they should. I think that they should give you some kind of end of year bonus or something too. You know, for the promotional value is high. You know?
I hope it's going to come out soon.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get started talking about artificial intelligence. Here and after, we might refer to simply as AI, but it's artificial intelligence. And to start a conversation like this, it seems like we have to start with, what is AI? Can you tell us what that is?
In one line sentence, so to make everybody understand, what is an AI? Augmenting human intelligence. How about that?
Okay, augmenting
for any purpose. If you're looking at fixing or analyzing the data coming from healthcare, medical imaging informatics, for instance, right? If I get to know how doctors work and make a decision, I'm going to write an algorithm to mimic how doctors make decisions based on exact same amount of data, right? So this is how we say, in other words, augmenting human intelligence. And beautiful thing about it is we will be tired working a whole day. We say long day, but the AI model is not going to be tired as long as it is plugged in. That's the beauty of the AI model. But there are so many other things that we should be talking about today.
That's right.
AI is about mimicking human behavior, or whatever we want machine does the same task. Okay.
When we talk about augmenting intelligence, that's a different twist on it. But we normally talk about artificial intelligence. I mean, that's what we call it most of the time. And that calls to the question, what's the difference between real and artificial intelligence?
So back in days, very beautiful question, Lawrence, because I was about to tell you this one. If you look at 60s, I want to go back a little back. 60s, people would love to see artificially flavored juice, not raw from the farm directly. Today, we don't like to have artificially flavored juice, orange juice I'm talking about. But at the same time, we're not here to change the terminologies. We can't change it. Artificial intelligence is about what I have got. I want this to be done by the machine, right? Machine does the exact same task I'm anticipating, or I'm asking him or her to do it, them to do it. That was back in the 60s. In 50s, we coined the term artificial intelligence because we want machine does the same task. And we want them to do it, right? Number one. Second, if you look at today, we do not like to use artificial term. It is because if you go to supermarket, I don't want to buy any artificially flavored juice. That's why my definition was a little changed here. I said augmenting human intelligence is the right definition of artificial intelligence, right? That's what we should be looking at. Otherwise, people don't want to go to hospital with AI machine taking care of you. Yeah. You don't want to do it, right?
Right. Well, so that brings up a other point in augmenting or mimicking human intelligence, a lot of people take a lot of shortcuts, heuristics. A lot of people go with their gut, so they don't really do critical thinking, which I'm going to assume that you have a way to filter out and try to be more consistent. And to be more consistent, you almost have to use some kind of plan and an approach to problem solving that is consistent. Humans don't usually do that. Can you talk about the difference between humans are capable sometimes of doing that, but they don't usually do that? Can you talk about how AI is different, pluses or minuses, than how humans normally solve problems, not just big problems, everyday problems?
So this is another way to take a look. If you're looking at, like you said earlier, that we can have a bad day because I get to work with somebody before I start my day to fix my plumbing stuff at home, and I have an important meeting at 10 a.m. Right? That's human. And basically you're messing up everything. You're calling too many secretaries and this, that, I'm gonna come, but you still have to fix your plumbing stuff because kids and everybody's waiting just outside the restroom, right? So think about it. That is beautiful example when you really want a artificial intelligence model do the task for you, and when you get a time, you look at how AI has been making decision for you, and you start from there. I've been giving this example in the context of healthcare experts. They are working so hard to make our lives better, but they also are humans. If we get to use AI models, whole night process the data we have collected so far since until last week, I can have the results by the morning today as a doctor. So the results in terms of data visualization, in terms of how they look, you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff, then I can sleep 5 more minutes in the early morning, have a very nice, beautiful morning and coffee with my wife, and I go make decisions, because AI models not always giving you the complete idea. It is basically additional idea for those experts taking in place. So I can take those models, outputs, those outcomes, I'm going to integrate based on my experience, and I tell end users, that means customers, I'm talking about patients, right? This is a beautiful world. But at the same time, if you look at when to use what, right? When to use what, for instance, you do not like to have AI model run today, deploy today, and the election is tomorrow. Something, you know, some deep fake, I'm talking about deep fake. Somebody is talking about something, the whole paragraph, the whole narratives, you take it from somewhere else and you put for somebody else. Basically, you integrate 2 different events in one event, and you just deploy that model before the election. What will happen? It's completely different. AI is not just for good things, also bad things. So it's who are you using, when to use, what to use, and how to use, right? Beautiful things there and ugly things happening today. That's why we are so concerned about ethical issues, right?
That brings us to ethics. And I think that for most people, the under the hood, how it works and stuff like that, well, it's there, we know it's there, but what we're mostly troubled by are the ethics or lack of ethics as we know them, and how will they be applied? Can you talk about what is happening now in relative to the ethics in AI?
Thank you. Let me advocate the fact that I'm going to be one of the AI and ethics panelists in Kansas City, Missouri next week.
Oh.
For the Great Plains Networking Summit, annual summit. It's a beautiful networking meeting. And let me back up again. We say AI is about augmenting human intelligence. human intelligence. When it comes to decision making, we should be looking at trustworthy and unbiased, right? Tools, trustworthy and unbiased tools. These are beautiful stuff. We know all beautiful things happening, but at the same time, the concerning issues are ethics. So when to use, what to use, where to use, how to use. Are these tools domain specific only for those people, or everybody can use? These are the things we'll be talking later. But when it comes to human, the tools are built for humans, not to replace them. Okay, the tools we built for humans. That's why this term, socio-technological advancement, this term, right, quote unquote, socio-technological advancement, this is required. When I say socio-technological advancement, then we got three terms. One is people, second is governance, third is tooling. Tooling comes when there is a need. Governance is really important because we need to look after AI model life cycle. It is not just I built it, you use Lawrence. No, you're not going to buy it, right? So people important, governance is important, and the tooling comes only we need, right? So when you see people, governance, and tooling, the different 5 items I'm going to take them here. Fairness, right? Number one, fairness. Second, explainability, right? Third, robustness. And fourth, transparency. Fifth, data privacy. They don't have to be ordered, but I have five terms here. What is fairness? I'm going to give you an example, and this is beautiful. When I, as an AI scientist or developer, did I take care of underrepresented groups? Did I take care of minorities while developing my tools? If that's not the case, you think it's going to be sellable? I don't think so. So it is important to have fairness in the AI models. Number one. Second, we call explainability. I would suggest Colby to come up with my slide number 4. If you can do it, but I keep telling you. So explainability is important for any expert. Let's say I sell you. If you don't know how to explain to your customers, your clients, how do you sell? As a developer, I'm not going to go and knock everybody's door, right? I'm going to give you that tool, and your responsibility is to make your clients happy. If it is not explainable, it is just the black box. If it is just a black box, how do you sell it? Because you also have to make a production out of it. So explainability is very important. How it does work. It is not the black box. AI models should not be black box, right? It should be white box so everybody understands things right. Third one is robustness. Robustness is about, let's see here, something. Okay, I mean, let's go a little up, back to a little back. Here we go. Good, enough. If you look at here, I'm talking about explainability. So healthcare, you have chest X-rays. This is the project we've been looking at COVID-19. Okay, using chest X-ray data, right? The right image with nice color. You see a map. We call heat map, right? Those red area is the area where there is a possibility of having pathology, right? Look how explainable it is. Now you understand. That's why sometimes I make a statement like, explainability lies in the eyes. So you see them, and then you're happy. Oh yeah, he get it right. That tool is beautiful. Right? That tool is beautiful. I'm not talking about how did we make it. I'm talking about how do you sell it, right? So the explainability is very important because those red areas are the areas or reasons where you get to see some problems. Then you can tell, here are the problems in your lung, right? The lung section. So it's beautiful to take a look. So that's why it's important. I think it's good, Colby. Thank you. We will be taking other slides at the time. It's important to take a look explainability seriously, as serious as we can, right? Third thing is robustness. Let's talk about hackers. If I sell the tool to you, and you are going to ask me, Casey, do you think people will hack my tool if I make it available for people? That's a good ask. But if I don't have an answer for you, you're not going to buy it. That's why it should be robust as it can be. So people should not hack. Otherwise, the whole data is going to go away.
Yes.
You are in trouble, right? And transparency, important. And data privacy, you know all about it, because I don't want to sell my data to somebody else. Tell me about data privacy in your algorithm, right? That's important. So these 5 terms are really important when it comes to AI and ethics.
Well, that said, all of those things are, if we do it correctly, but what happens when there are people who don't subscribe, let's say, to the let's say the ethics rules that you come up with? What happened when you have, let's say, unethical players in something like AI, which goes, once you have the internet, it can go anywhere. And even if it wasn't the internet, there are all kinds of things that can happen. Where's the enforcement of ethics? How could that work?
This is always cool and very challenging, and we call opportunities. You always have reckless players. Most of the times, highly intelligent AI scientists, they go for unethical jobs most of the times, right? Reason is they can make money out of it. So when these unethical jobs, for instance, hacking, right, or sending some emails, and you get to click him, and you know, after clicking, you basically giving all data to that person. That's why they send all these different kinds of emails looking like real, and you get to click it, you're tempted, you clicked, and you're done. The whole machine has been hacked. Everything about your social security, all the way to healthcare, you're done. But because they make money out of it. And these are we call anomaly, which is we don't know unless it happened. If you want to be a reckless player, there is no rule. It's easy to be reckless. You just need to know, how am I going to get data from you? Because you don't have rules, you don't have policies, you can always play. So basically, hackers go faster than the one who is clearing. You know what I'm saying? They go faster. Whoa, where this happens. So what we should be doing to avoid these problems is this. So then second day, you come up with another anomaly, and then you start blocking them. So because our task is to go with policies, rules, regulations, data privacy, their task is to be reckless. And they're intelligent in terms of making mess. If I really have to be a reckless player, I could be better than anybody. The question is, am I be accountable? Do you want me be accountable? Responsible and accountable AI models are people necessary. Otherwise, the same tool can be used for hacking purpose. That's why I keep telling people that AI models are double-edged sword. Right? Think about it. I'm going to give you one cool example. When we come up with double-edged sword in my graduate seminar class, why is that? I give an example because these are young people, right? I give this example. It's going to be funny. You have a mobile phone and you have a GPS turn on, turn off. Nice switch, right? Mobile phone, any iPhone you have, any mobile phone you have, and you have a GPS app where you can go turn on, turn off. It's a nice switch, toggle button. Do you want your spouse track you? Sometimes you would like to turn off. This is for young people, okay? Sometimes you do like to turn up because you don't want your spouse track you, maybe a nice weekend with somebody else. That's You don't want him. That's why this is not right for you, right? This is, but if you look at the beautiful things in there, if I want my a patient, I'm talking about hospital again, I want to get the record of how much she or they walk, right? How much they walk and where did they go? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the person with leg injury, limbs. I want them walk. So I would like to see all these locations that see he or they move. Look how nice it is. We turn on the GPS and I give you that nice mobile phone or something. And it's beautiful for me to track, record everything that see here they do. But at the same time, when I have to sneak out from the spouse, I don't want to turn it on. So it's a double-edged sword, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's always about utopia and dystopia, right? If it is a perfect world, we build AI as perfect as it can be. But if it is about reckless world, I can make money out of it. I cannot control those people because the people always happen.
Right. Interesting. Right. So I want to open it up to our esteemed panel here for anyone who has any kind of questions on anything we've been discussing so far, or maybe something that you would like to look into, questions that you've had. We want to open it up to you at this time.
Please.
Betty?
Hi, good morning. A couple of things come to my mind. I do a lot of things that don't have anything to do with what I think AI would be doing, but I now begin to understand it will be there, whether I know it or not. So perhaps it behooves me to be more aware and cautious. And are there ways that we can protect ourselves today that would be usable for somebody who simply uses an iPhone everywhere she goes? And I do have it set up so my son in California or Arizona can see where I am and make sure I'm where I told him I'd be and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't live that exciting a life. I might someday. So just those kinds of things that are for the people that I spend time with talking about such things that we don't understand. That's what I'm wondering about. One of the things. The explanation's been fascinating. I didn't even think I was going to want to be here this morning, but boy, am I glad I am.
Thank you, Betty. So, one thing that I would like to add on top of that is we cannot stop open AIs, right? Which is, you see ChatGPT happening. We call in our technical world large language models, right? ChatGPT has got a big network, really big network, right? And I keep telling people, look, everything is digitally accessible today. We don't have to go to Oxford Library. We don't have to go, I mean, I think we forget libraries these days, by the way, because everything is in the internet. If that's the case, we scientists came up with the idea, why not we train our AI model of what is happening, of what all happening in the internet, right? And that comes like, wow, like humans, they do learn from the day they born, listening to dads singing, crying, this and that. The same thing happening in AI. We keep learning every day. People keep posting their dissertations, theses, reports, technical reports, or a governance report. Everything is there, by the way. We can take a look. But our mind, our humans, even we got billions of neurons, right? It's billions of neurons. They looking at the things that we like to talk about. But the AI model with that many neurons still capture everything from the day they start to learn till today. So that is more powerful in terms of using them when it is required, right? It's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, we did talk about it, Lawrence and I, over telephone conversation yesterday. What happened if your AI model is really, really, really big and it needs supercomputing power, right? We don't need more food, but the system that we build after having that much data get trained, the data coming from the world. I'm not talking about South Dakota, Minnesota, coming from the world, right? It's internet. So if we got that big network, I'm talking about neurons connecting each other, you know, that kind of stuff. If that's the network we have today, we need supercomputing power. That means more electricity consumption, right? For everything to be processed. And if we get to use that much of electricity, then it's a time to cool the machine down. We need more water to cool the machine down because all these supercomputing is not like our standalone computer, personal computer. It's like a house, right? Big towers. Then we get to use, that was a nice study for ChatGPT. Everybody understand, I believe ChatGPT. ChatGPT requires 500 ml of water for every 15 to 20 conversations.
And that's milliliters for those who are used to the English system.
Correct. So if you drink, if the ChatGPT system drinks 500 ml of water for every 15 to 20 conversations in an average, look, we're running out of the water one day. Do we need that ChatGPT? I don't know. But as an open AI, as an AI scientist, I think it should be there. But how much it should be, we don't know yet. So the policies should be there. At the same time, when you get to use that much of electricity, basically you're producing carbons, right? So the carbon production, then somebody has to go for the tax policy. Isn't that so? I'm just, I'm thinking, this is my thoughts. It's not about the state has to do it right away. No, I'm not against anybody. Then who has to pay a lot of money? Why people just look after our vehicles, cars, and we pay taxes? Why don't we look after them too? They make billions of dollars. I can give an example, Tesla, it's an example, because it's all about computers, right? And Meta, which is Facebook, Amazon, how much supercomputing power they use? They got a lot. If we get to see, I have the slides, and you probably want to say, take a look, Colby, I'm going to give you a number. The number is probably 37. 37, I'm going to give you an idea. 37 number, if you will get to use, you just go. Here we go, thank you. If you get to see here, look at data centers, carbon emissions, and electricity consumption, we produce an estimated hundreds of megatons of carbon emissions produced per year, similar to American aviation. This is the research study, right? Now we get to think close enough so we live in the universe of humans, not AI models everywhere. I love to see AI models happening everywhere. It's because I'm an AI scientist. But again, humans are important. Universe is important, right? That's why I'm just giving an example that it is a time to think optimized model of AI. And if you go the two slides down, Colby, I'm going to give you cool stuff just to trigger more discussions in here. A little down, one more down. One more down. A little down. I can, okay. Here, so go one more down now, just one more. Good, beautiful, here. So if you look at human brain, we got hundreds of neurons. But if I ask Lawrence, I'm talking about optimization here, right? I'm not gonna use all neurons when I get to answer simple questions, right? For instance, if I ask Lawrence, let's go for coffee today, in the afternoon, how about that? And Lawrence is going to say, no, Casey, I have a meeting. How fast he can make it. It means he used only few neurons to reply me, right, to my ask, because he doesn't need to process my questions to all his neurons in his brain. We have to look up to optimization, meaning we shouldn't be using supercomputing power for simple ask. that will reduce carbon emission, and also the water, because water has to be there to make their system cool down. We don't need that because he processes quick. But if I give you a complicated task, he's going to take 2 days. That's fine. I will wait because I know the task was complicated. At that time, he's going to use all his neurons, his spouse neurons, sisters, wherever he finds, he's going to use
the dog, everybody.
Exactly, everybody, because neighbors. Oh, Casey asked me about this. Do you have an idea how to solve? So we can wait, but not for the simple ask. That means we have to optimize our model, AI model, which is all about neurons, and we don't need to use all of them.
Right. Well, speaking of that, you mentioned water being one of the kind of important issues here. Does that water, can that water be reused? Usually we think of cooling with water or other chemicals as a way of heat transfer as opposed to consumption. So how does that work? And how does that work in terms of just heating up the planet? If we're transferring all of that energy that's developed, as a heat, or could better electronics reduce the heat demand? Because usually when you have a lot of heat that's exothermic, that means that you have an inefficient system if that's not your point to develop heat.
In fact, we run into physics department anyway. So let's take a look here, right? So when you get to see heat coming off from the system, obviously we cool it down. The only traditional option for us to use water on top, right? And the water is going to be vaporized, then all the way to the sky, come back to Earth in the form of raindrops.
Right.
So that's going to happen anyway. But question is that we have water here today. Why am I going to use that water right away where there are so many people like us don't have the right water to drink, right? So it is not about we don't need AI. We need AI, but the concerning issues today is we don't need to use open AI for every purpose.
Right.
This is a little too much. We worry about data privacy. We worry about too many other things, and also country relationships too. If I get to know everything about other countries, what happened, same thing from other side too. It is not right. Those things are important in AI, and we come up with data privacy, term, right? And this is a really beautiful thing to take a look. That's why I have seen yesterday in the White House, they just talk about responsible and explainable AI. So responsible AI is the beautiful thing that we should be looking at. So I would like Colby to go to, let's see here, page number 10. Page number 10. This is the one. So I did talk a little bit about what, when, and where to deploy, right? We did talk about GPS of your nice mobile phone or any GPS tracker you have. This is also AI, right? So we did talk about this in my book. We just published it last year. So it's very fresh book. And this is the book that basically talking about who the users are important when you deploy. Everybody can't use the same model. Let's talk about ChatGPT one more time because it's very famous, it's popular. So ChatGPT, when we get to use him, we basically talk about medical practitioners, and ChatGPT is far better on an average in terms of responding or answering to those questions we ask to those medical practitioners. Right?
Excuse me, Casey, can you explain what ChatGPT is and serendipity and those, because I have a feeling that some people are not familiar with those.
Let's go back to the ChatGPT again one more time. ChatGPT is the one open AI we call a model where ChatGPT, that's a name, okay? It's a name. So ChatGPT is an open AI model. ChatGPT is a name. It was originally expected to make autocomplete sentence. That's it, right? If I write the cat is on, then you get to see options on the mat, on the tree, this, right? And you select the one you like. We call autocomplete to make your sentence autocomplete while typing. That was the original aim of the ChatGPT from these groups, right? What it turned out is they got to train all data they have in the world because we make everything digitally accessible. And when they have all books, all reports, everything get trained, the system they were anticipating in the beginning is much more brilliant than what they think, what thought before in the beginning. So the ChatGPT today has got everything, all libraries in there, everything is trained. And it's not like human brains because as long as it is plugged in, you get the answer because you don't have to have a long day. That's what the AI model, that's why I defined way before, right? So the important thing for us is to see the ChatGPT today is better than anybody else is because we're humans. We forget things. And we only, remember, we have a cache memory, which is this side. We get to remember those things from last 2 months, and we forget, but it doesn't mean we forget. We used to know the pointer. We take time to catch it. But ChatGPT, like AI model, don't have to worry too much about because they know which neurons. Basically, just go at some mathematical tools they apply, and then get things done. So now this is ChatGPT, right? Everything is there. If you ask ChatGPT, give me a house for those houses for sale, 2-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom, and one in Sioux Falls, this area. Ask ChatGPT, he's going to give you, go to Zillow, here is the link, here is the link, here is the link, the realtor going to give, because everything is there. ChatGPT is, I know the Google, think about it, right? It's basically the Google, a more, not generalized AI, we call generalized AI. But here is what I'm going to tell you. If somebody said ChatGPT is more powerful than medical practitioners, I'm hurt. I'm seriously hurt. It's because there is no emotion. You should take care of emotion at least. We're not talking about utopia and dystopia. We're not talking about perfect AI world. We're talking about humans too, right? That's why the human connection and AI, they should go together. So probably they have talked about AI is beautiful. That's fine. Okay, I take it. But you cannot say that AI model that ChatGPT is way better than medical practitioners. I don't like it because I'm not going to go and use ChatGPT to have my problems solved using in ChatGPT about my leg, for instance. What happened if sural nerve in my lower limb is swollen? And ChatGPT is going to give me something, of course, because he's brilliant. If I take that action and I end up in emergency room, what happened? Who is accountable? That's why responsible AI is important. Not about beating you, I'm better than you, you guys do nothing, humans are not better, I'm better. No, it's not good. We have to go with humans. That's why look at the term socio-technological advancement. Gradual advancement is important. We have never said we don't need AI. I told you, all of us here today, we discussed, I want doctors sleep 5 more minutes in the morning. By that time, AI models going to process data collected so far till yesterday evening. How beautiful it is. But it doesn't mean that I don't want AI model make a decision for my life state and livelihood. I don't want to do it, right?
Well, that's right. And I think one of the things that brings up, Casey, is that we're not really sure how humans come to decisions. You know, I mean, that whole decision-making process with humans, we know what we can do in terms of critical thinking, but as we were discussing before, most humans don't do that. They have all of these other biases, often which they don't even know about. And it does doesn't mean like biases about people, about all kinds of things. They have like setups that have nothing to do with the real problem. So there's a lot of inefficiency in human thinking,
Correct.
yet that's what makes us human.
Yes.
So if we take that out, there's a certain amount of inhumanity in that. So it's no longer serving us. But it brings back to me the question of how humans think, and do we need to be improving how humans think so that we don't become in some ways obsolete, because the processing of data is done so much better by computers that can just work on a problem all night.
I'm going to give you a cool example that's we did talk about here. And what is AI? What is human AI? Right? I want Colby go to 27 page, and it's a beautiful slide. Let's talk about it. Here we go. So here, it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to take a time here to describe how humans learn, right? You have a beautiful couple in the beginning. You see that? And the kid's on the shoulder, right? And he's going to be a little big, no more in shoulder. But every time this couple is trying to teach how to walk, how to talk, how to go to school, behave good, all these things, that's been mentored up to when? 18 years. That's a magic number again. Do you think after 18, he's not going to make mistakes?
No.
He still can make mistakes. But
yeah.
He still can make mistakes. But we are proposing from AI world, we are proposing active learning in the system. Think about it. When to stop mentoring? 18 for us. The kid is going to grow based on all different kinds of learning from home to school, right? Everything, neighborhood. And after 18, I said, my friend, you're good to go. But he is still making mistakes, but he can correct by himself, or just make a call to his dad or mom. Mom and Duke, look, this happens if the guy is candid enough, right? And he's going to say, I'm going to correct it, don't worry, or tell me how to correct. All right. Those things still happen, but 18 is the magic number. We do same thing. We do same thing for a machine. Now I'm going to give you a cool example about what happens. We have future epidemics. We don't have data about that. Future epidemics come all of a sudden, like COVID-19. We don't have data. We will take 6 months to understand what it is, right? We don't know nothing, by the way. It just come like anomaly, different than before. I know it is different and it is dangerous, but I don't know how to recover it, how to be away from it. I don't know because we've never seen before, right? Those things can be learned with the help of, we call reinforcement learning in our term, meaning up to 18 years, I learned something from my dad, from my mom, from my teachers. And after that, I still make mistakes, but I know how to correct it based on what I have learned so far. The same thing can happen for future epidemics. If we have the neural network, AI model ready based on our past experience, we can still avoid them. That means the system should be able to work with humans or experts in the domain, right? Every time together. If I get to see new case as a doctor, I want machine knows that too. Can we learn in parallel? I'm still looking at my clients, but there are few anomalies I have never seen. As a doctor, I call my senior. I call somebody from Washington, D.C. I call Pennsylvania people, all right, because I want to solve this problem never seen before. If I do mentor my AI model in parallel, I'm learning, the model is get ready like humans today, right? Yeah. That should be what we should always look. We should be looking at. Right, that's right. My proposition, by the way. This is a new idea. The active learning in education is going to work. Active learning in AI too. right?
Right.
It's the same term. It's the same term, by the way. It's
But
beautiful.
oh, Sharon, you had something you wanted to add? Push your mic on, Sharon.
We have one question in there too. We can go back to the question.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, I hope, because this might be a little bit off what you're saying, but so I hope you can hold that thought. It's AI. Okay, recently I had my heart checked, and in the old days, you just had a stethoscope and the doctor listened to your breathing. Okay, now it was just like that lung thing. You can see exactly what's off, and this is really better, really a lot better. But to use that machine is pretty expensive, and it used a lot of energy, which a stethoscope doesn't use. And you multiply that by all of the other people who are getting the same, and you are using a lot of resources. And when you were talking about the water, I'm thinking, all the people who don't have water now, and we are going to need, because we have enough money, such a problem, and the ethics, such a problem. We are going to use these machines because they really are helpful. Right? The human brain doesn't hold all of the things that we learned yesterday. And so we'll use them, but we already use up too much water. We don't share water. And I don't know, makes me really scared. Not scared, but just glad that I won't be alive in 20 years. One other thing, and this is kind of a question that you might get from the nice girl in the last row, because she is nice, you give her a C- for the course, but is really kind of dorky. With sci-fi literature, I don't read it, not because I feel snobbish about it, but the past interests me much more than the future. And so I'm thinking, I bet sci-fi writers have already written about all of this. And the scientists are just latching on, oh yeah, they were kind of had it in their heads all the time. Okay, that's all I have to say.
I will say that a lot of times the sci-fi writers are sci-fi writers because they have friends who are scientists, and a lot of these ideas, they're like 50 years ago, people were already talking about AI. This is not new. It's just new to public conversation. I'll let you take it, Casey.
Colby, can you go to 26? I'm going to help Sir Søren. It's a beautiful ask. Thank you very much. I'm going to help Søren here. 26. Here is the nice stuff for you, Søren. I've been working AI more than 20 years, and I believe AI helps a lot. Today, it's because of OpenAI. There are so many other people looking at ethics, which is also beautiful. Look, here is the deal. We start looking at people. So I have a problem, any problem, let's say any event, probably COVID-19, or HIV positive or something else. So the first thing in the morning I do, I talk to my wife or spouse, whoever I have, and kids, and I'm going to go meet the doctor. The way I talk is the data, and all kinds of data in the left side. All these tools we have, starting from how I talk, how they talk, and hospitality and everything, all the way to written documents from the doctors, right? Those document image analysis in there. So we have an AI model, and looking at how am I going to visualize those data coming from different sources, right? One is how I talk, second one is blood pressure, third one is this, and all nice, heartbeats and everything. And I'm looking at how consistent the data is about the event, meaning your health, my health. And I want to make a decision because humans are biased. If you look at too many people, I'm talking about mass population screening. That's what we call mass screening. If you look at mass screening, I still believe AI models behave really good as compared to humans. We have the data and we proved it, we published, right? So what you have said is 100% correct, and I agreed with the statement that you have made. We still see for massive screening, AI models are way better. And if that's okay, Colby, it's good. So here is the thing I'm going to tell you. Our study back in days before 2015, we had 3 doctors, experienced doctors, and with the problem is to figure out the chest X-ray has got tuberculosis or not. We have a lot of chest X-rays already taken. We have 3 radiologists looking at the problem. The objective is to say TB or not TB, tuberculosis or not tuberculosis, right? It's a flag, basically yes or no. Radiologist number 1, R1, made a couple of mistakes. R2 made different mistakes, but a bunch of mistakes, not the same mistakes, the exact same mistakes. R3 is more or less good. But the system consistently not making mistakes, beautifully made right answers. And we ask radiologists, look, this is our system's decisions, and these are your decisions. And by the way, they annotated, they helped by these 3 radiologists, they helped the system to get trained. Based on that help, our system is behaving good today, not exactly the way the doctors do, based, to do their decisions today. What happened is, why did they make mistakes? And they didn't make mistakes before. It's because that was a long day. Maybe you're fighting with somebody, you're struggling. That's why I said. So the system we built today, if make mistake, consistently same mistakes, easy to correct. The system, if they make mistakes, consistently similar mistakes, so easy to correct. But the humans, they didn't do that mistake yesterday, but they make mistake today, maybe traffic jam, I don't know. Maybe if the plumbing is here home in the morning, I don't know. Because of that, we still need AI models, but how to use. That's why we have to be domain specific, not like ChatGPT, open everywhere and make too many holes. Who is accountable? That's what I wanted to say. We need AI models. We can go by the way, we already have started telesurgery. Can you believe that? Telesurgery starting from Chicago, University of Chicago medicine in the UK. I have a friend, he did telesurgery. Scary, right? But he's still doing good. Much precise, very precise than the doctors. That's what our studies show, right? AI models are inevitable. We keep rocking. We will do. We will send those tools and techniques, everything available for our public. That's what we am. But at the same time, when it comes to fairness, when it comes to robustness, when it comes to explainability, when it comes to data privacy, we still have to think. That was my concern. Otherwise, I didn't say AI is not good. AI is beautiful. Thank you.
Well, we're coming up on our last few seconds here. And I want to, first of all, thank you, Dr. Santosh, for coming and sharing with us. As I'm sure the other folks on this panel will agree, there's so much more to talk about, and we hope that we'll have you back and pick your brain or harass you or heckle you or something to get more information, get more information, because this is such a timely topic, and there's so many other angles to talk about. So did you have any other last 10-second thing you wanted to say?
I'm glad and honored to have me myself here. Thank you for the invitation. And I know it's been hard to talk about AI for those people not computer scientists, right? But it's good to have. It's good to really have these people understand what AI is about. Right. Great. That's why I have these slides, by the way, for laymen to understand. These slides I made as an educator, not as a scientist, as an educator, to tell people how AI should work. Where should we stop? Where we cannot blame, because same GPS I can blame because my spouse can track me in the weekend and I go somewhere else. I blame, but I should not blame because the GPS is not for that purpose. The purpose is different. That's why AI models should be domain or topic or problem specific. I just use this one for this purpose, keep in my pocket, useful, like what Sharon said. It's beautiful.
Right.
If we get to use that for other purpose, then we become reckless drivers.
Right.
And reckless drivers, we don't know, these are anomalies because that software or algorithms was not developed for that purpose, and he did that. So what should I do? Right? Those things we never think, and then they come up with that results. The outcomes are crazy. It's basically ruining the whole community. It's because they should not be using that tool for that purpose, right? That's why that was a question about reckless individuals or organization, because their intention is to make everything reckless. So that way they get data and sell it for money purpose, or it's basically money laundering or something, data laundering. That's it. That's this way, right? So again, OpenAI, the last sentence, OpenAI is inevitable. It is not stoppable, because we get to use these things in a way we serve humans and we look after the lives. Not just because I need to have utopia world where everything should be perfect and we forget about underrepresented or minorities and all these kind of people. We can't do it.
Thank you so much. And thank everyone else for joining us. Come in next week, same time, same station. We'll have more exciting discussions. Thanks. And we'll be in touch, Dr. Santosh.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Have a good day.